Well, the week's ended well with the delivery of this brilliant E12 M535. Now, I do know a lot of you guys will have seen this car before here at Classic Heroes. I've personally known it for, it must be over 20 years now, but I'm thrilled that we've got her for sale again. I have such brilliant and fond memories of E12 M535s, and actually those fond memories come at a time when I was at my poorest, my most skint. These cars 30 years ago when I started in this business were at the very, very bottom of their depreciation curve and about 12, 13 years old, and you could pick an E12 M535 up for 600 quid to 1200 quid with a long MOT, and that's what I smoked around in as a young man. So I felt the bee's knees, as you can probably imagine, driving around in one of these as a young man. It got me stripes, it got me spoilers, it got the big Marla wheels, it got me the Recaro seats, motorsport steering wheel, but more importantly, of course, limited slip diff, Getrag 265 close ratio gearbox, that brilliant straight six engine that sounds fantastic, with 220 horsepower, motorsport suspension and bigger brakes all round. So the E12, well, to me, and actually I think to everybody, it really was the world's first super saloon, not just for BMW, but for the automotive industry. It really set a benchmark for all other car manufacturers to follow. But of course that came at a rather staggering price of nearly £14,000. So that in 1980, bear in mind, that would have bought you two brand new Triumph TR7s. That's probably why there's only 450 of them ever built in right-hand drive. So I've known this car for 20 years, and I was contacted over the phone 20 years ago by the second owner. He had known the first owner and bought it when it was a couple of years old, and he was then making noises about selling it. And of course, when he told me it was only 49,000 miles, and been in a garage since new, I was desperate to get hold of it. However, I failed dismally. He sold the car privately, locally, to the third owner, and that's when it disappeared off the radar. I hunted high and low for a long time, but didn't find it. It was some years later, I then got a phone call from the fourth owner, who had explained that the previous owner had died and left this car to his secretary in his will. Well, she never drove it, and she had it a couple of years. And that fourth owner enjoyed it for a couple of years, and as I said, that's when in 2008 I was lucky enough to buy it from him for Classic Heroes. The most important thing to stress here is the body shell of this E12, and even when I was buying them as a young man, when they were only a few years old, the corrosion had already set in. But miracle that it is, this body shell has absolutely survived, completely rust free. It's had some cosmetic paintwork, but it is absolutely original, never welded, never restored, never been rusty, and that makes this not unique, but there is only a handful of E12s left that have genuinely not had the body shells restored. So a year ago, although the car's only covered 54,000 miles, it was decided it was now time at 37, 38 years old to give it that big mechanical age-related birthday that all cars need at some point in their life. So a programme of work was drawn up, and everything that was perishable was replaced, with the intention of the car being absolutely ready for daily use, long road trips, turnkey. Every single suspension ball joint, bush was replaced, engine mounts, gearbox mounts, differential mountings, all the seals, differential seals, gearbox oil seals. Brakes completely rebuilt, new discs, pads, calipers rebuilt, new brake flexies. Under the bonnet, fuel hoses, vacuum hoses, breather hoses, coolant hoses, water pump, thermostat, rad cap, everything replaced. Underneath, new Bilsteins to ensure the ride quality was back to as it was in 1981. It wanted for nothing. I believe the internal invoice here at Classic Heroes was about £15,000 for that mechanical birthday. So she's ready to go, one of only 450 of BMW's first ever super saloons. Turnkey, ready for one of you guys to enjoy this summer. Some long road trips ahead. Enjoy.